So hi, my name is Tony Armour, and I am the Film Commissioner, Director of Creative Industries for the Dallas Film Commission. This is a podcast about all things film and things that we find interesting about film and filmmakers and just kind of whatever we want to talk about in the creative world, essentially. And so we're just going to jump right in today. And today our guests are Watchale, which is it's not a thing or a place, but I'll let them explain exactly what that is. And so I'm going to let the three of them introduce themselves and tell us their names, who they are, and what they do.
Hey there, my name is Brandon Rivera. I'm a producer and director here at Watchale.
My name is Dave Velez. I'm a director and writer at Watchale.
My name is Emily Sanchez, and I am the DP for Watchale.
We nailed that.
We did.
Very good. Good job, guys. Good job. And so one of the big reasons that we have you on the podcast today is, one, you are all Dallas-based filmmakers, and two, you recently won the Grand Jury Prize for Best Narrative Short Film at the Slamdance Film Festival.
Yeah, we did.
Heck yeah, whoop whoop.
Oh, yeah.
Which, for those people that don't know, Slamdance takes place at the exact same time as Sundance in Park City, Utah, and it's how many years now?
Yeah, around like 20-something years, yeah.
20-something 20-something years, and it was one of those things that was started kind of as a direct response to Sundance being this big corporate behemoth that really doesn't represent independent filmmakers anymore. And it was just, hey, let's make this film festival and call it Slamdance, have it take place at the exact same time as Sundance. And so it's become kind of this incubator and this place for discovering new talent as far as filmmakers go. And why don't you guys talk a little bit about what that was like for first, tell us what the film is, what it's about, and then we'll talk a little bit about sort of your festival process and submitting to festivals, getting into Slamdance, and kind of going from there.
Yeah, so the Sidewalk Artist is a 20-minute short film that kind of surrounds a contractor in Cedar Hill, Texas, right next to Dallas, who goes by different. He goes to different concrete sites and leaves little impressions or artistic pieces in the ground, and our story just sort of follows him and sees what he gets up to and kind of has this larger discussion about art as a whole. And we chose to submit it to Slamdance because it honestly seemed like the perfect festival for us. And then we went, and turns out it was. It was a really good time.
Yeah, we didn't really make the movie for any festival, so when we sent it in, we're like, let's see what happens. And then it all came back to us, and it kind of ballooned into something really wonderful.
Yeah, when we made the short film, it was definitely like we thought nobody would want to watch it.
Yeah.
And so now for like so many people to have reacted and enjoyed it and understood what it is, it's been really exciting.
We never expected a 20-minute film about concrete to be so engaging.
Right, sure. No, well, that speaks volumes to you guys as filmmakers to be able to make something about a subject that you don't think is interesting that people not only find interesting, but they vote like best of for that. So the film itself, you guys made for yourselves, basically. It was just a story that you wanted to tell, and the thought process of festivals was kind of an afterthought then.
Very much so.
Absolutely.
I mean, we only submitted to two.
Yeah.
That was Slamdance and it was South by, and those were the only two that we submitted to. And
we only got into one.
We only got into one. 50-50.
Yeah.
That's all right. Well, Slamdance is a good one, and you won. And film festivals are super interesting in that respect. So my background, in addition to being a film commissioner for a while in Florida and now here in Dallas, is I also started a film festival in Florida called the Sunscreen Film Festival. 18th years in April of 2023. And as a filmmaker myself who has had films in dozens of film festivals around the world, you'll put your film out there and it'll win awards at some festivals and, as you've learned with this one, not even get into other festivals at all. Yeah. And it's not that there's no rhyme or reason, but sometimes it feels like it to a filmmaker. You're like, well, why did I get into this one and win and then not even, be programmed in this particular one? Mm-hmm. It's sort of unexplainable in that, all festivals are different and they're programmed by different people. And there's always little things like length always makes a big difference. And 20 minutes is pretty long for a short film. And that will limit, a lot of festivals. But 50-50 is pretty good, So, well, what are you doing next with the film? Since you've made it into Slamdance, are you planning on doing more festivals?
Well, I feel like our experience with Slamdance was incredible. Like we really like left it like feeling like this is something that we've never felt before at another festival. Like everyone like
very special.
everyone like accepted us, but even before like the whole win and all, like we were in the audience for so many films there that like inspired us because it was like they were so original and creative and like out of the box, and the fact that we were like alongside them really like took us. We had that like what imposter effect, right?
Imposter syndrome.
Imposter syndrome, right? And but once we won, like we felt accepted, obviously, but like the idea of like a community coming together for that moment and like trying to facilitate that for someone else has been really like, I don't know, interesting to us. So we've been kind of working on something for ourselves, but not just for ourselves, but for the DFW community here.
Yeah.
I think we kept our hopes kind of in check, and the big plan with Sidewalk Artist was always to have a hometown premiere, which is what we're planning on doing. We're going to have that here pretty soon, which is Film Soup. But it's that was the thing that we were talking about. That was like the main goal, because a big part of the film is we got a lot of people from just the DFW community involved, just friends and family, first-time actors that we thought could work for it. And so we know that they want to see themselves on screen and want to see what we've created. And that's always been like our priority from the start, is this hometown screening. And now it's finally, we've gotten there.
Yeah, I think that also was like going and being at Slamdance just like furthered that, because that film festival is like so intimate, and it almost felt like this little space that we were there for these, how many, 4 or 5 days, was like, these became like our little friends and family that we saw every day.
Yeah.
And like walking down the street and being like, oh my God, hey, we're gonna go to your thing later. And it just got us even more excited to come home and be like, oh, these are our actual like good friends and family that are gonna be here, and it's just gonna be this
We want to share that feeling.
Yeah.
So is this the first film festival you've ever had a film in and gone to?
No.
No.
David and Emily actually worked really. Well, I mean, I guess I was in the film, but
He acted in it.
I acted in a short film that we did at UNT.
Yeah, it was my first short. Well, not my first one, but my first official short.
Yeah.
Called Ladybug. Emily shot it, I directed, wrote it, and Brandon and his little brother starred in it, and that one got into Lone Star. And kind of same thing. We walked in there, we showed it to. We got booked in like the kind of like the younger film block for like kids that are making films.
Which, by the way, is hilarious because there is nothing but Spanish curse words.
Yeah, it's
all
riddled
that
with,
film, and
like,
they just never
So
noticed
it was like the high school and college film block.
Yeah,
thing.
kind of type of
Well,
thing.
more so, even
like,
younger.
than
Yeah.
that.
Oh, really?
They were,
Yeah.
like, it was almost to encourage like
There were
younger
children in the
filmmakers.
audience.
There was-
Yeah,
there
the
were children.
audience was packed. Like that's the thing. Like it was like an early morning screening. I just had a bunch of kids and all that stuff, and we showed the movie. There was a lot of good reception to it. And then a few days later, we were towards the end of the festival. We were just walking into like the lobby of the hotel, and we see a room with like a bunch of filmmakers, and we walk in there. And as we're walking in there, they're doing the awards. And as we walk in, they're like, for best student short film, they say Ladybug, and we're just like out of
Shock.
in shock.
You didn't even
shock.
realize that you
We
were
didn't-
late for the awards.
Yeah,
Just walked in
You
on
walked
a
into the
whim.
award ceremony.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was a really fun experience.
That was actually like one of the like that we weren't Watchale at the time
No.
when we made that. That was David and Emily's first time collaborating. I hadn't even met Emily,
Yeah.
and that was, I think, kind of the
It was a
turning point
start.
where we
It
were
was
like,
definitely
oh,
a
maybe
start.
there's something here where we can
Something.
work together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the great thing. I know you met in college,
Mhm.
but about film festivals as well is inevitably when you go to a film festival, you meet people who you just like you connect with because it's like, oh, these are all my people. And then you end up somehow working with them on something later on, or you make plans to, or
Yeah.
those relationships continue. And people will ask me, and for years have asked me, oh, I want to get started in the industry. What should I do? And I'm like, go to film festivals.
Yeah.
Like, even if you don't have a film in a film
Mhm.
festival, go to film festivals. I'm sure there are local festivals wherever you live. If you want to travel to festivals, great. But that's like the number one way to meet people and kind of build your community for doing stuff. So so 2 short films. You've made 2 essentially. Official, or you have others.
We've had some others. So I think we had Ladybug was the first one that we kind of just started working on, and then we had
Mhm.
another one that I directed called Checkpoint, which was like really our first endeavor where we were all part of the creative.
Mhm.
And then after that, once we formed Watchale in 2021, our first short that we released under that kind of our film collective was Rincon, which is just a documentary about two sisters in Oak Cliff, and basically just what they're doing and how it impacts their community.
Okay.
And they were just two entrepreneurs, and it's kind of a portrait of them trying to capture that.
And film festivals for that one, or just made it?
No, that one was
Made
just
for
for
yourselves.
fun.
Made
That
for
was just
yourselves.
a fun.
Yeah.
We wanted to make it.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like, you've had pretty good experiences at the two festivals
Yeah, definitely.
you've gone to, which is great. So you're going to have the public screening in Dallas area for Sidewalk Artist, and then obviously there are some great local film festivals. Oak Cliff, Dallas International Film Festival. Have you submitted to either of those, planning on it, or are you just kind of like?
Yeah, we're definitely planning on it. I know our Dallas premiere is going to be prior to that, just with Film Soup, which is that's what we've decided to call our screening of the Sidewalk Artist, and it's almost like I would kind of call it like a mini film festival. It's our own little screening event that's sort of supposed to be like a free admission thing in the Oak Cliff area to get people to come out and engage with their local film scene and just really see what it is.
Very. We're also gonna have vendors and music at the event as well. So
We
just
wanna-
want to bring a bunch of different people out. And have fun.
Good. And we'll get into that. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
I want to exhaust all the film questions about Sidewalk first, and then we'll kind of move into that. So you'll do that. You'll see if you get local screening at Oak Cliff or Dallas, which I would assume or hope that local festivals support local films like that. And then if you're like, all right, we'll just put it online and kind of go from there, and because I'm sure that movie's done, so you already have other things in the works.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we have a couple things that we're constantly working on. When we started, we tried to like almost create a backlog of films that we would constantly have something to put out. Right now, we have a experimental documentary that Emily shot and I directed down in Austin, which is it's purely observational footage of people parallel parking. So
it took a turn though. Definitely.
Yeah, well, I was going to say it sounds hilarious right from the start.
Yeah, it's hopefully it's pretty anxiety inducing. We definitely try to play up the melodrama of everything, but we're very excited about that one and how like experimental and avant-garde it is.
And how long is that one going to be?
About 10 minutes. Which again, very ambitious.
That's good. That's fodder for film festivals if you're keeping it 10 minutes or under.
Maybe, but when you're just talking about purely observational footage, no dialogue, just music, I don't know how audiences are going to react. We're kind of excited to like maybe scare some people away with that.
Yeah,
so.
no, that'll be fun. Again, that'll be one of those things where you'll end up at festivals, win awards, and others like just complete crickets. You won't get into anything. Now, without giving, I guess, too much away, you say you take a turn. What do you mean?
Oh, yeah.
What do you mean
I think it's
by
just more so in the process of what we set out to do. We were like, it would just be really funny to watch people parallel park.
Yeah.
Like, what would we just happen to see? And it was really fun, too, because I rented these, like, very, very long lenses. So we were just, like, way back, just hanging out, watching people. But it was
like
funny.
a 400 millimeter. Like,
it was so funny when we actually, on the day, went to go do it. Because it was like just an awful day. It was like raining, and we were like, we're not getting anything. Like nobody's doing anything.
We were so mad at each other
Yeah.
on that. Like it was just like the worst production day imaginable. All like just terrible.
But it was funny because it's like when that happened, it was like we suddenly were just like went into like adapt mode, and we were like we were so I think we were so mad at the world, and then we started looking for other things in just the environments that we were in that were like going to possibly maybe like mirror display how we were feeling, and so it just totally switched, and we ended up getting this really weird mix of footage, and it kind of takes on a different tone, and it's centered around parallel parking, but it's definitely like became broader in the edit.
Yeah, definitely.
Is the name of it just going to be Parallel or something like that? Okay.
Parallel.
That's what
It
I would have
actually
named
is.
it. Yeah. Parallel, because that can have more than one meaning.
Exactly.
For what
We've
you're
had
doing
this
there.
conversation.
I figured you had, so I didn't think I was going into new territory with you guys there.
Yeah.
What area did you pick where you're like, I guarantee people are parallel parking all day and all night here in this?
That was
Yeah.
Emily's domain.
Well, because I live in Austin. I split a lot of time between here and there, and I was like, we went down on East 7th, we went down South Congress, and I was like, yeah, it's gonna be awful. It's always awful parking here. It's just always the worst, and it's just like nobody was parking.
Yeah.
It was raining. No one was out.
It was awful, and I was like, oh my But we spent most of the days there, and then we went downtown. We were just like strictly in downtown, and just was trying to go to different streets and just walked around a lot.
Yeah, we got a lot
South
of different stuff.
Lamar.
We that day again was awful. Our first day, awful. We left like in bad moods, bad spirits. We didn't eat all day, and then after we ate dinner, we went back to Emily's place and we started watching dailies. And once we started watching dailies, we were like, "Oh my God, we actually have something." We couldn't believe ourselves. We were like all angry all day, and then the next day we were just so excited and invigorated to actually like do what we set out to do.
We had chalked it up as a loss up until we watched the dailies, and we're like, "Oh, like this
something.
doesn't have to be miserable. Like we're doing something that we
Well,
planned on."
and so you just picked a piece of music, a couple pieces of music, and you're just cutting it to the music, basically.
That actually took a very long process. We shot this almost over a year ago now. Over
December 2021.
And so finding the right music, which holds the entire tone. It is only music and footage.
And we knew like very much what we wanted, and we went through a lot of different people,
composers, finding like music online, just different.
There's so many like online music libraries now.
Yeah.
You know, I can't even think of Soundstripe, and then I'm blanking on all the rest of. There's so many of them that it's just like, and I think a lot of the composers, musicians are putting them up on multiple platforms.
Oh yeah.
Too, but it's almost like you go down that rabbit hole of trying to find music. You can just get lost for days.
It was a massive task.
Well, we have so many friends also that are just in music, and we were like, let's utilize this. Let's talk to these people, and we can very much like cater it to what we want. And it just like was really hard to do that. Like for some reason, it just wasn't working out. But we are figuring it out.
Yeah,
I think we're pretty close to having it done now.
A relationship we've been like building with a lot of artists, at least with musicians, at least for Sidewalk Artists and Parallel that we're working on. We've been finding artists that we like their music, and we've been kind of like reaching out to them, and we tell them our pitch, we'll watch what we're doing, and most of them like kind of get with it. They understand the cause that we're trying to do and what
we're in talks to lock down that music with an artist called aspirations right now for Parallel, but that happened with very very talented artist, very cool music, and it very much fits the tone of what we're trying to do. But we had that idea just because with Sidewalk Artist, when we were working on it during pre-production, David, I won't reveal too much about the short film, but when David and I were like kind of making production design elements of the piece, we were listening to a playlist of just inspiration music. And we reached out to one of the artists, Brian Green, and
on a whim too.
On a whim,
on
we were
an
like,
absolute whim. Like, let's just see what happens.
Yeah, and he ended up going for it, and he let us use 4 songs in our short film that just to us are like everything. Yeah,
that's awesome.
They hold it together.
Perfect.
That's awesome. Well, talk a little bit about Watchale then. Like, what is this? What strange concoction have you put together that you call Watchale?
I think it's like how we've been describing it. It's just our own little way of, I don't know, putting our name behind one thing. You know.
Was it just I think originally it was like we just wanted a space to collectively put the work, like the art we were making together.
Yeah. The things that we're passionate about, and just seeing what we want to see and making it for ourselves. I think a big part of it is like our Texas identity and like who we are as Tejano filmmakers. We want to just show every aspect of who we are and show that it's a reflection of, this place that we come from, which is Texas, and show every side of that. And we're trying to focus on that with surrealist elements. We're focusing on documentary and mockumentary, and we're making docs, making mocks, and we're releasing them all at once and not telling people which ones are which.
Right.
So
it's
let them figure it out.
Yeah.
And see which that's almost. You could almost have like a day of screening all of them, and then literally just making people guess and almost giving out little prizes for if you guess right or something.
Exactly. And we're excited about that. I know we're all antsy because we don't want people to know like which ones are which, but it's definitely a part of the goal that we have is just to have people engage with our work as a story.
Right.
To acknowledge that just because something is a documentary doesn't mean that the director's hand or cinematographer's hand and go into this. Like there's fingerprints that the filmmakers leave on every piece of work. So.
Yeah, I think people don't realize sometimes that even in documentary, I mean, maybe even more so in documentary, the filmmaker is definitely guiding you down a path of what they want you to think or believe or feel. You know, there's very little, even news isn't news anymore. You know, they tell you what they want you to think. So, you know, people used to think, oh, documentary, this is a true factual story about something. When sometimes a narrative film about something that actually happened is more true than a documentary.
Yeah, that's a big part of it, is finding more truth in narrative than you do in the actual
when
thing
you start
itself.
when you start breaking down those two like concepts, mockumentary and documentary, and then you start seeing like the techniques that some filmmakers use to like kind of like make you believe a certain way, like showing you the seams of like of how it got to be put together, you know, like that kind of shows like a sense of realism, but in reality it can all be staged.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting because news, like, you know, video, television, whatever reporters you want to call them, they do the exact same thing like during an interview process. Like if you watch an interview with a reporter like 60 Minutes or whoever, you know, they'll ask a question and they'll say something in the question, a word in particular, that then the interviewee instantly repeats back to them because that's what they were trying to get them to say. And they use that as a technique. Or a lot of times you'll see, you know, for like the investigative journalists, they'll be like, take a look at this, and they'll give them like the piece of paper to look at, and the person will be looking at the paper, and they literally just want the reaction shots that they can cut into to make the audience think what they want them to think about, that kind of thing. So it's all manipulative, whether it's just a simple, you know, interview like that or a documentary or anything. It's all whoever's telling the stories is using it to get their point of view.
Yeah, there's an inherent bias in everything that everybody does, and we're just trying to acknowledge that and just say like, here's ours, you know, like here, just know that we have one and take this for what it is.
Yeah, because it's always been rooted like in storytelling, and we realized that we can do that in any medium.
Yeah,
you know, like in any way, and we also, I think, a big part of like the whole mini doc, Dinny mock, what we're calling those, was like, I think we all love narrative storytelling and we want to continue to do that, but we like came out of college and we're like, what is the easiest, most convenient way for us to do these? And immediately we were like, documentary. Like this just feels, that space feels like feasible. And then we realized that you can still do so much, again, like manipulating of the story in that space.
Yeah. There's so much room to push the medium also. It feels like so... Everyone is trying to take things to the next step with narrative, and I think for us what we saw with that was like that's just raising the production value of narrative, and we do not have the resources to do that. So our thinking was, you know, let's draw things back, let's go minimal, let's play into all of our limitations and flow with mockumentary or documentary, just the way that the OG filmmakers did it as well, you know.
Focus on finding that narrative.
Yeah, no, and that's super smart, and I've done the same thing with some of the short documentaries that I've made. It's like, you know, so busy with, you know, the day job kind of thing, but you want to still do something creative, and you're like, oh, what can I do? And you're like, okay, I know this really interesting person that I could do a documentary about, and I it's so much easier scheduling wise. Okay, I don't have to schedule 10 actors and hair and makeup, and, you know, because people are very forgiving in watching documentary as far as the production value. Like they don't, it doesn't have to look like it's all shot, you know, on an Alexa with the best lenses in the world and the best lighting and everything else. It can be, you know, gritty and raw and, you know, sometimes a little out of focus or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, it's a documentary.
Yeah.
And so you can get away with a lot more, and like you said, do it at a budget that you don't have to, you know, break the bank.
People are willing to watch anything that through any medium, even if it looks like on a bad little webcam, like as long as it's interesting or has something that like keeps you on it, like to tune back in.
And it's so fun. Like, it's so fun to take to do that and like have that people have an understanding of what documentary is, and then you show them something really weird in this little clip, and then it's like, wait, what?
Yeah. Kind of trying to flip it on its head.
What? Yeah.
And so you have obviously you have a you know, a few films that you've completed. You've got a plan for more of your mockumentary slash, what did you call it?
Dinny mocks.
Mini docs
and Dinny mocks.
And Dinny mocks.
Mini mocks and Dinny mocks.
Yeah.
That you want to do, and like where are you at in that? Like how long do you think, you know, for How many? What's your goal? You want to do 4, 5, 6? It's going to take you a year. It's going to take like.
I think we're gonna just kind of it's part of the process. I don't think there's like really an end goal. It's kind of like where it takes us. We're gonna probably write it until it feels like we should move on to bigger things, whether they be a feature or whether that be whatever it may be. Because we have I think 4 right now, which are like we said, Rincon, and then we shot a small short called Heat Wave, which was like really trying to play with narrative in purely just interviews.
Playing with man on the street type of style stuff.
Yeah.
And then
working on some of those like that.
Yeah.
But I think we have like 2 or 3 lined up in our queue as of right now, but there's a long list of ideas. So.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to weed through and see which ones you like the best and which ones you can actually execute.
Exactly.
Which is a big part of it. So, because that was going to be my next question is, the evolution always is from, doing shorts into a feature at some point. Nobody wants to make shorts for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
You know, one, there's no money in shorts. You can't actually make a living, really doing that. They're great for just being artistic and making creative things and building a brand and a name for yourself. But, everyone's goal is kind of like, I would love to actually do this for a job.
Yes, that would be lovely to continue making things with my friends and getting paid for it.
Yeah.
But we have a big one. I don't think that we're necessarily ready for the feature jump yet. And I think if you were to watch Sidewalk also, you'd see a lot of those limitations. And we were really looking to prove that we can handle ourselves with something bigger, taking a bite out of something. And right now the big short that we're working towards is a documentary on norteño music in Texas, and just basically its impact and showing it in a really unique way. We're looking to tell this vast music history that is largely untold, because Texas wasn't the epicenter of all of the culture and music like California was in the 70s, 60s, and we're trying to just tell that story. So that's our next big one.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fun. And that's an actual documentary, not a.
I mean, everything we do,
or it could be.
It's left up everywhere.
Yeah.
You gotta see.
I suppose you think about it.
It's a story.
It could be both.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, we're really trying to play with narrative and nonfiction and mixing the two.
Because you could tell the true story of that, but yet have like a fake character in it that you've made up. I hope I'm not ruining anything.
No.
Yeah.
And I think what the fictional elements of it are going to be just the way that we show the information.
Right.
Yeah.
And I feel like an audience could, if they're paying attention, they can probably decipher which ones are real and which ones are fake,
Yeah.
Whatever you want to call it. It's sometimes it's obvious, but other times you start like questioning it and like, is this real? Like the way that we present it, I think that's the most important part, especially what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
But I think we're really excited for that one because it's kind of like we want this to feel a little more grandiose. Like I think that this is gonna be definitely one of the bigger shorts that we've done up to this point.
Yeah.
Like we made our last short, the Sidewalk Artist. We made it with like maybe total $4,000. Like that's after
Max.
festivals and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Because again, we wanted to play into our limitations, but now we kind of want to play with a little bit more space.
Yeah. We want to see what we can do with a bigger budget and really amping up that production value and showing people what we're capable of. So
something really stylized. Really stylized doc.
Something with lights.
With lights.
Something
lights
where
are great.
I can have a gaffer.
We would love to have a crew. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and it is hard. It is. So speaking of sort of the technical side of it, since you're the DP/cinematographer, I think a lot of people sometimes don't know that those are essentially the same thing, kind of interchangeable terms. Director of photography is what DP stands for. People, if you're listening, by the way, and cinematographer. What did you shoot the Sidewalk Artist on?
So we shot the Sidewalk Artist on my little trusty Blackmagic Pocket 6K. That's what we've shot majority of our films
Everything
on.
so far.
Actually,
Everything.
I think, as long as Watchale, yes, that's what it was. I think when we were still in school, there was other stuff. We used school cameras, but
and really all you just get lenses then,
Yeah, and even then, it's like we borrow. I think a lot of what we've used is like shout out my homie Sunny Pereira. We've used a lot of his like old Nikon FD lenses, like just vintage glass, and then straight up like photo lenses that
Yeah.
I like.
Those are great. These
So, yeah.
gives you a really good look
Little
for
trusty,
for the
my
whole thing.
Tokino 11 to 16 has done me well.
the.
It's gotten me far.
Yeah.
But that's all. That is the camera. That's the build. That's all. That's what it's always been as of right now.
Well, and honestly, it doesn't matter what the camera is, right? As long as you can
Yeah.
capture the content that you need in unique and interesting ways. I mean, everybody has a 4K camera in their pocket now.
Exactly.
So, I made my first feature film in 2004. I wish I would have had a 4K camera in my pocket that we could pull out,
Yeah.
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah. Sean Baker's a big inspiration of ours too.
Massive.
Of course,
So,
sure, yeah. After
and-
doing Tangerine on an
Ex-
iPhone,
exactly, yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, Steven Soderbergh,
Yep.
shot feature film on an iPhone. It's like
A
those
few of
guys-
them, right?
Yeah, a few exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, more than one. So
Yeah.
no reason
definitely.
anybody listening out there
No
can't.
hate on,
Yeah.
on my little trusty guy.
No,
you know?
no. Honestly,
Not at
no,
all, not at all.
whatsoever. It doesn't really
But I think
matter.
that it's also very there's an excitement to like what there's so much out there
Yeah.
just to get your
Yeah.
little paws on.
On two
you know?
separate occasions, I've been asked if we shot Sidewalk on an Alexa.
Really?
Yeah, on two separate occasions. They're like, nope,
Wow.
Blackmagic, and I'm like, they're like, what? Yeah, you're right.
Wow.
But okay, you get confused all of a sudden.
Yeah. No, it's exciting. I think it's also just like I think as like just as a DP, I really just want to challenge myself. Like there's just like the ideas of working with certain equipment that I just like never
Mhm.
touched, and I'm like it's like intimidating sometimes, but then I'm like but I want to use it. I want to like experience these things. And
Yeah, of course. I mean,
So-
that's how you grow in the industry.
Exactly,
And if you
yeah.
eventually, want to be, paid for your work, then
definitely,
for creating art, then that's a good way to go. So let's talk a little bit about Film Soup
Film
Yeah.
Soup.
that
Film Soup.
that you've put together. Tell
Mhm.
me what is Film Soup and what all you got going on there.
Well, David, do you want to talk about where the name came from?
Yeah, well, I can talk about Film Soup, the name, the origin. What's it called? Yeah, so Film Soup kind of was born out of, we were kind of trying to figure out names for the event, and I was thinking back about, like, whenever we meet up and, like, come up with, like, ideas, we have a lot, like, a deadline we have to meet, we're just editing all night, we call them brain soups, because brainstorms feel like we're fighting, brain soups feel like a collective, you're
We're
kind of melding together
mixing
to
it
make
in.
one good thing.
Stir in the pot.
So that's where brain soup came from, and then we just kind of like, what if we just swap some words and just make it Film Soup? And Film Soup kind of like it just stays in your head. Like I don't know why, but
Yeah.
Film Soup just kind of really makes you connect with something for some reason. I
It-
think the soup part makes you feel like it's home or something.
It's a similar idea though, where we're trying to mix a lot of different types of artistic ideas and just artists in general from the DFW community. We're trying to incorporate a little showcase of local short films from friends and people that we haven't even met, like just seeing what our community has to offer and showing a wider audience that. And we're also incorporating live music, and we're gonna have vendors there. So the whole idea is just for it to be this like big party
Yeah.
where we're celebrating the Dallas-Fort Worth art scene, where we're showing
Yeah.
everything that we have to offer.
Yeah, and at no cost to any of the artists either,
Yeah.
because just film festivals get expensive, and we kind of like you kind of pay all this money and you have these expectations of whenever you like apply, and sometimes nothing comes back, But we just want to like give them the yes from the start, like yo, come out here, bring your family, bring your friends, come show your movie. Same with like the vendors, no vendor fee, no nothing, just
And
come out.
to remove that paywall for the audience too,
Mhm.
because I think that's a big deterrent for like just coming from South by Southwest. It's like I couldn't really go to a lot of things there
Yeah.
because
Mm-hmm.
it's tough, like it's tough to make ends meet with that. So we
Yeah,
wanted
that was not to sidetrack too much, but that's what's really interesting to me about things like South by and like Sundance. They're so expensive.
So
Mhm.
expensive.
Yeah.
Like,
It's unattainable.
I mean,
Yeah.
it is. It's unattainable for anybody that's like, unless your job is paying for it, like mine did to go. Like the hotel was ridiculous. Like the badge is ridiculous.
Mhm.
You got to get there as
Mhm.
well. You got to eat while you're there.
Yeah.
And then all of the venues and everything, the prices are kind of just crazy high.
It
And
almost
so,
becomes so saturated too. There's just so many people.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
like-
there's, I mean, it is what it is. There's, whatever, 100,000 some people that are there over the course of so many days. And, a lot of people that go and just don't buy a badge, you're there because they're like, well, I'm going to be out and about. I'll meet people, that I want to meet. But it's kind of like a shotgun approach. It's all just scattershot. It's not very, focused.
No.
And it's become, exclusive in the access because they do make it so expensive when it
Yeah.
feels like it should be, more attainable for
Well, it's a
people.
bummer when, like, I mean, I worked on a couple of films that were at South by, and I couldn't even go watch them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's like
You don't get they only get so many
they
passes.
only
Yeah.
get so many exactly to, and then you have these shorts that people work really, really hard on, and there's a whole crew like
Yeah.
like any other film would have, and it's just it's so hard to go see it. And so I think like with Film Soup specifically, it was like we wanted to feel really homey, you
Yeah.
know, and just like you're not going to be left out of this one, you know, like
You're the Slamdance of South by. Is what you're saying.
I don't know about that.
I don't know yet.
that's a big
Because I know Sundance and Slamdance have a still pretty contentious relationship,
Yeah.
so we don't want to
No, of course
not
not.
trying to
ruffle any feathers.
No,
with
and
South by.
South by is great. It
Oh,
really
yeah.
it really
it's
is.
really
and
cool.
it is so much different than something like a Sundance, where
Yes.
Sundance. That's not a secret, really, but I guess I'll say it for the public to hear. I really don't like Sundance, frankly.
Really?
Yeah, I just think it's way too exclusive. It is not independent filmmaking. It does not support independent filmmakers.
No.
It is all of the agencies and studios working together to get their super sad films into the Sundance Film Festival.
You're not wrong. You're not
Yeah.
wrong.
So, anyways, that was a sidebar. It's not like I'm going to get banned from Sundance or anything, so nobody really cares on that. So, Film Soup. So,
Film Soup.
even though we're going to release all of these podcasts for Dallas Film Commission kind of in a batch, so your event may be over by the time people are listening to this. But why don't you say the date anyways?
April 22nd at the Oak Cliff Assembly in Oak Cliff, Dallas.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's gonna be really fun. I think that we're really just jazzed about the idea of like again not only just screening our film, but and having everyone come out for that, but that we're going to be having other like good friends of ours screen their films
Yeah.
alongside it, and have our cool friends that make stuff, and
Yeah.
have our cool friends that know how to play music.
Yeah.
And it's just like it just feels like it's gonna be like just a big
Party.
old party.
Yeah.
And I'm really stoked about
And
it.
a big part, I mean, we weren't planning on going this big
No.
with the event. Like,
not at all.
our hometown screening was just going to be, all right, maybe our friends and family will want to come see our screening. We'll
Let's go
charge.
to Cinemark.
Yeah.
Get a room.
Yes, just like anybody who's in the film, come to the film, you know.
Yeah.
But after Slamdance and getting all of that attention, we saw this opportunity to just extend that attention to the Dallas Fort Worth
Everyone
talent.
else that
Yeah.
we think
Yeah.
is really dope.
People that we
Yeah.
think that can do things better than us, or that are doing stuff that's just looking cool. Like
Mhm.
Mhm.
we really wanted to share that and to do something new and interesting.
Yeah.
Have you put up like do you have a website for Watchale?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, and so you have all the information.
Yeah,
Mhm.
everything
It's all
there.
on there.
If you
There's
go to
a cool little
Watchale,
Film Soup
yeah.
page.
And
yeah.
Has all that information.
with Film Soup, we're partnering with, as you know, the Dallas Film Commission.
Really?
Wow.
Partnering with the Dallas Film Commission and with the Pegasus Media Project. So thanks to the Dallas Film Commission's generous donation, we've been able to pay off our venue and share it with everyone else, share it
Mhm.
with the rest of the community.
Yeah.
And we're crowdfunding the event through Pegasus Media Project, just as a nonprofit. So just to offer that tax break for anybody who's willing to make a contribution to us,
Mhm.
it'll be great.
Good. And have you written a press release yet that the Dallas Film Commission could share with media about your event?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you don't have that.
You should get that.
I still
to
got
us.
lost in the mail.
You should get that to us so we can help with so that we can help with that.
Absolutely.
So if this turns out to be successful, which I'm sure it will be, it sounds like you've got great interest and great artists and everything's going to be there. I'm sure the first question people are asked would be, "This is great. When are you going to do another one? Have you already
Yes.
thought about
Yes.
the next one after this one?"
So we've thought
I-
about it, and we might
yeah.
break your heart a little bit.
That's okay.
So the more that we like work in Texas, the more that we fall in love with the whole state, not just like DFW. Like I'm from El Paso.
I'm from San Antonio.
I'm from Arlington,
Yeah.
born in Dallas.
But we kind of want to make Film Soup like an idea that can almost like a traveling circus. You
Yeah.
know, like it can be set up in El Paso, San Antonio, Houston, something like that, and like kind of engage with like the Dallas or the film commissioners of each city, and like seeing like gauging the waters over there, seeing if they know any filmmakers in that area who might be interested in being like helping organize this, because like we can't just go into Houston and like
Right.
do it. We want to like kind of like interplay with it, like kind of like set up a foundation, but also just let the cities kind of like take it for what it is. That's of course that's like the big dream, of course.
Yeah.
Our second one, we're working on trying to see how this one goes out and figure out all the problems that might arise from it, but
If we manage to stick the landing, I mean, the hope is to do a
definitely.
traveling
Yeah.
circuit.
Definitely.
Just to kind of
That's fun. I like it. That's a cool idea.
Yeah, because again, like the Texas identity is so broad.
Massive.
Yeah.
It's so. We're all from different places. We all have very different perspectives on things,
Yeah.
and we want to show that. We
But
want to show
it's-
all the details
yeah.
that you don't see.
It's also really funny. It's just I feel like too is like the more that I mean we all work freelance, you know, and in this industry it's like you realize there's just someone everywhere.
Yeah.
There's just someone everywhere that you work. You'll always know somebody.
Mhm.
And so we're really, really excited about that idea of going other places. And I think that can definitely happen.
Yeah.
I mean, that
We'll
would be
come.
so much fun.
Dallas is always going to be here. We're always going to come back to Dallas.
Yeah.
No, that's great. And you kind of you're right. You kind of do need that whoever that person or people are in each of those spaces
Yeah.
to be able to be, because you got to have somebody who knows the area and
Yeah.
kind of boots on the ground and be like,
Yeah.
oh no, this would be the perfect venue, and I'll
Mhm.
talk to this person and we can get this set up,
Yeah.
and but they're as someone who's done a film festival for 18 years, they're hard to do. It is.
Yeah.
It's, as you've learned with this one.
Yeah.
Like it's and you're only doing a one day event
Yep.
with films that people that or
Mhm.
or local community kind of stuff. So when you start growing beyond that, it gets to be a point where there's a reason most film festivals or things like that only last about 3 years.
Yeah.
It's because it's hard.
We've been shocked by just the sheer amount of work that we've had to do with
Yep.
it. I mean, just we've been working really hard. I mean, we've been really
Oh,
trying
yeah.
trying to make it happen and make things go. And just to get to this point where we feel assured that the event is happening, we have our partners' assistance. We're excited, but
Yeah.
it's like it's been hard so far, and we're gonna keep on pushing until we get there.
The only way, like, we've never done anything like this.
No.
Yeah.
We're treating it
No,
like a
no.
film. That's what we're treating like
Sure.
our own project. Like, oh, this is what we're doing next. Like, yeah, we have a parallel and we have the Norteño doc, but like Film Soup feels like a whole
Yeah.
entity, So we're trying to give it as much attention as we can right now. Also, the turnaround time from when we started it to when it's
Yeah.
gonna be, it's pretty quick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. It's fast.
Yeah.
It's fast, but
it's
it's
fast.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. It's good you have all of those film organizational skills.
Yeah, they come in handy.
It really
Yeah.
does. It's just us three too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like crazy. It's like eventually, if we did, maybe we'll grow a little bit of a team when we do this. But
Well, yeah,
right now,
and sometimes that happens. You'll do it, and there'll be people who will come and he'll be like, "This was really great. How can I help, or how can I be a
Yeah.
part of it?"
Yeah, definitely.
And they'll say that, but then the reality is, will they actually
Truly
help, and
help
how
it,
much will
yeah.
they do it?
Yeah.
That's the thing, is
Mhm.
sorting out who's actually real and who's not, which is very familiar anything in the film industry.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you mentioned that you all obviously work freelance, and that's
Mhm.
kind of how you
Pay the
eat
bills.
and pay the bills on,
Yeah.
Yeah.
on a daily basis. And so you're a cinematographer, DP, freelance. What else do you?
I-
Because there's
I-
always a what else do you
As
do?
an assistant camera, I work strictly camera department.
Okay.
But I work a lot as like a first or second AC. I'll cam up, and then obviously I DP. So.
Sure. And a lot of commercial work, because that's how
A lot
everybody
of commercial
really
work.
makes a
A
living.
lot of commercial work, and probably like a couple indie features during the year. You
Sure.
know, so that's kind of what my main thing is.
And do you have Instagram or anything, or whatever? What's your
Yeah.
chosen space where people could find you if they would like to hire you for
Instagram is great. You can follow me at Emily M Sanchez. And
Emily M. Sanchez?
Yes.
That's my very American way of saying that. But excuse
Yeah,
me.
that's-
I'm not gonna try and do like a fake accent to say
No.
things, because I'll just mess it up.
Respect.
So just gonna be
Respect.
my Ohio Midwest white boy version of
Yeah.
Yeah.
of it.
We've gotten a lot of people calling us Watchale.
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 You know,
Watchale.
So why don't you
That's
spell it
alright.
for the audience?
So Watchale is spelled Watch, WATCHALE. It honestly, Watchale is a good way to spell
Watchale.
it.
Watchale.
but it is
break it
pronounced
down.
Watchale.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like it's a new craft beer, Watchale.
Watchale.
Yeah.
All right, put
Which
that on
that could be
list.
the next thing
Put
you
that
do
on
is
the
you-
list.
We need to.
You
That's
get
gonna
your own
write
craft
that down.
beer.
Write that down. Write
And
that
then
down.
a documentary about making your own craft beer.
Oh,
That
that sounds like
would
fun.
be
There
fun.
you go.
Easier. Let's do a mock about it.
Exactly.
Just lie.
Yeah.
We just don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And
Oh.
so freelance.
Oh yeah, I'm a freelancer too. I'm right now to make bills, to pay my bills. I'm basically just a key set PA or PA on sets, commercial sets usually. But on my own time, I just work on Watchale stuff mostly. Yeah, you can find me at on Instagram at am_dav.
Mm-hmm.
Dav as in DAV.
DAV. Yeah.
Right. M_DAV.
AM_DAV.
Mm-hmm.
AM.
AM.
Okay. Not just M, but
AM
AM_DAV. I'm
DAV.
making sure we get this
No,
clear
it's cool.
if someone's listening,
No, yeah.
so they can actually find you.
Yeah. And so for freelance work, I've been doing assistant directing work, but I think I might be done convincing myself that I want to be an assistant director, and I'm trying to focus more just on directing work, producing, writing, that sort of thing. And I'm on social media at Rivera.onbrand because my name is Brandon Rivera.
Okay.
I don't know.
Emily found that very amusing.
I don't know how to make me laugh.
I gotta get a simpler
I
handle
know.
now.
Yeah.
Now that you're having to repeat it for people,
Yeah, I'm like,
to
oh,
possibly
wow,
find
this
you,
is-
it's like, wait, how do we
This is brand good.
how do we do this? And then Dallas Film Commission, you know, Dallas Creates. You can just kind of Google that and find us. That should be easy. That should be easy enough. Because off the top of my head, I'm like, what is our Instagram right now?
It's hard because you have to remember like the apostrophes, all the stuff
Yeah.
that you put down, and see if, to make it unique. But also you can follow Watchale at Watchale.
Watchale.tx.
.tx.
Yeah.
.tx. Sorry.
Okay, and that's the Instagram as well. And
That's
what's the website for Watchale?
So the website is watchaletx.com.
Watchaletx.com.
Mhm.
All right, very good. I think we're wrapping up a little bit here, trying to think what else I need to ask you before we finish this up. How about people are going to listen to this and be like, where can I watch The Sidewalk Artist? Like, how can I see this film if I'm not able to go to Film Soup? Like, how can I see it?
Yeah, I mean, we're planning on putting it on Vimeo as soon as we have our mini festival run is done. As soon as we've screened it at Film Soup, I think we're gonna pop it up online and show it to
It'll
a
be on
wider
our website.
audience.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it'll be on the website
It'll
too.
link
Yeah,
on our
so
website.
you'll put it on Vimeo and then link it to your website. So
Absolutely.
keep an eye on the watchaletx.com website
Yeah, and our Instagram.
and your Instagram, and you'll be able to see when the stuff is happening.
You can see all our work on there.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys very much for being here and chatting about your films. Looking forward to seeing all the great things you're going to do, and I'm sure we'll do future episodes where we have you back and talk about more stuff.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks
Thank
for
you so
having us.
much.
Yeah,
It's
thank
really
you.
an honor.